little bit about myself. I love and I eat and I breathe and I eat, sleep education. So that's what I'm all about. Literally from basic education to higher education, social responsibility, professional work, whatever it has to do with education, literally that's me. At a point I was actually meant to be a CA and I sacrificed all that to be in education. That's how passionate I am about it. And then I decided to obviously come into this journey of Partners for Possibility, and I met this great gentleman which I'll allow to introduce himself.
Good evening, colleagues. My name is George Solo. I'm the principal at Bokgoni Technical Secondary School. You heard the song, it said, "To Mommy." I used to teach at Bokgoni from 97 until 2008, and then I went and became a facilitator. But while I was out there was a crisis. I believe May knows about it, that Bokgoni used to perform, to be one of the best. It's a technical high school where we offer maths, science, engineering, graphics, and the rest. We don't offer any other subject. We don't offer accounting, geography, and so forth. It's purely technical. So you should understand that when they judge us in terms of results, we talk about maths and science. So in 2016, the former principal left, then the post was advertised and applied. 2017, May, I was appointed. And in 2016, the school got 32% in matric. Then 2017, we got 67%, and it was not enough. And last year, we managed to get 98%. So, in a nutshell, that's my background. And then also, as I said, I left in 2008. I was a facilitator. I ended up at the Department of Higher Education, where I was developing policies. So when I came back at Bokgoni, I realized that, you know what, they were not applying any policy, they were just working. So I said, no, let me bring them back, show them what policy says. Then that's it in a nutshell. Thank you.
So between the two of us, we obviously decided to join the program as a result of our passion and wanting to bring about change within the school, within the community, within education at large. As George has explained, he came back to a school where he felt that there was a need for change, and through this program, obviously, we knew that we would have the opportunity to learn more and ultimately give more than what we possibly can give. About the school and its challenges, George?
As you know, where Bokgoni is in a township, and it's a technical high school, and we need resources. Unfortunately, in terms of the funding norms, we are being funded like any other school, like any other normal school. And the learners at our school, they pay 650 for the whole year. And with the 650, we have to make a point that we get materials, and we've got 3 trades. We've got electrical, civil, and mechanical. And then in our workshops, like currently in grade 12, we've got 181 grade 12s. Of those 181, each one of them is supposed to do projects. And as you can see here, there's an electrical workshop here, where learners are taught the 3 phases and so forth. We are training these learners to be self-sustained, so that when they leave the school, at least, instead of looking for a job, they can create their own jobs, be their own bosses. And on that side, it's our civil workshop. It's unfortunate that what the department did in terms of remunerating the headmasters, that if you've got this number of learners, you will be moved to this level. And it created a problem, because of when I started teaching, we used to have plus minus maybe 15 learners in a workshop. But now, because of that ratio, or what I alluded to, we are for you to be able to get more money, you have to enroll more. And it becomes a challenge, mostly in terms of the workshops.
So one of our differentiating factors as a partnership is that, unlike your general challenges that you find within schools, which would be infrastructure, material, lack of various tangible items. One of the biggest problems we faced was lack of having the right individuals to actually support the school in the sense of the school management team. And I think you'd understand that from a company perspective or from a school perspective, if you don't have the right team, it completely makes your company or your organization, or in this case the school, dysfunctional. So moving into what we actually looked into, it was more of what the organization Partners for Possibility stands for, bringing a sense of leadership and a sense of getting the school to function effectively and efficiently. So through the partnership, these were some of the challenges that we actually addressed. SWOT analysis where all stakeholders were involved, management plan to address threats and weaknesses, empowering the school management team through workshops, ongoing monitoring and support, as well as recognizing excellence. I think George can speak to some of the interventions that actually took place throughout this particular period.
Last year we had a challenge whereby, we call this access educators. So, there's this system, this program that is already being used at school, that is called SASMs. SASMs, you can't drop it. So previously, they were just using another program, whereby they were inflating some of the numbers in terms of for the schools to get posts. They give the schools posts looking at the number of learners that are enrolled at a particular school. So the challenge that I got, the numbers were inflated when I arrived there. I had to account for plus minus 100 learners who were not accounted for when we started using SASMs. So last year, I had to let 14 teachers leave. We had 58 teachers. So I had to let 14 leave. How did I go about doing it? I consulted with my partner, then we sat down, we came up with a strategy. And we said, we're going to use the SMT to identify the 14 teachers, looking at the needs of the school. Then it's the route that we took, and at the end of the day, we managed to come up with the 14. After getting the 14, we realized that, letting 14 teachers go at once, it's like closing the school. It's going to be a problem. What we did, we negotiated with head office, and head office said, you can let 7 go, you can keep 7. And at least it was a bonus. And then as we speak now, the 7 have been placed at other schools where there was a need. And then we remain with the other 7. So it's how we managed to develop, to involve the SMT in terms of decision making.
Quite frankly, there's still some more training and development that we're planning to do with the school. George and I always refer to the fact that our partnership has actually just begun. Last week, Sunday, we were at Starbucks having the time of our lives. I think we spent a good 4 to 5 hours there on Sunday, and there was a lot that we actually spoke about in the sense of how it is that we plan on moving forward. So, for example, there's still a resource center that we're planning to build as part of what we want to do in terms of improving infrastructure within the school. And then, as I've indicated, ensuring that we maintain a sense of leadership within the school, and ensuring that it continues to produce as we've improved on our results in the year 2018 to get them to 98%. So we'll continue doing that. What you've learned from the partnership, Mr. Tshwane?
I will never exchange anything for this partnership. Meeting with the principals, meeting with the business partners, you realize that what you call a challenge to you is not a challenge when you hear other stories. For example, in terms of infrastructure, I was complaining that sometimes we don't have enough classes and so forth. But when I met some of the business partners, some of the principals, when they were saying at their schools that there's no roof, then you realize that yours, it's nothing compared to theirs. And then one other thing that I've learned from this journey is to be a good listener. Listening without answering, You know, when we're doing the time to think course or workshop, you know, just to listen for 5 minutes without interrupting, even when you feel the edge of asking questions, just keep quiet. It has made me to be a different person altogether. And what I love most, or what I've seen, one day I saw my wife having the book Time to Think. While she has been reading that book, we were able to engage. So I hope she loved it also. Okay. And then also the community builder. That made me to think differently, more especially, or to perceive the community around Bokgoni differently. Because sometimes, like as schools, it's them. And it's where the mistakes come in. So to involve them, more especially in some challenges that you encounter as a school. Like, for example, Bokgoni is a high school. And you know, these young ones, they like to smoke next to the, you know, outside the schoolyard, but next to the school. So if you involve the community, it becomes easy for you to curb this problem because of they becoming ears and eyes, and they assist you. Several times, community members came to us to say, you know what, there is this particular corner, please go and check. So you see, the community was part of us. So community involvement, it was one of the workshops that I've enjoyed a lot.
On my side, I've continuously attending the sessions was very inspiring at all times. As much as I'm passionate, there was always something which I actually learned from our sessions and something which I took back. And beyond that, I think beyond the work that has been done, I've actually, gotten to meet really great individuals, mothers, fathers, brothers, and sisters, and there's so much that I actually, take from the group itself that keeps me going in my journey of education. So that's for the most part what I've actually taken. And over and above that, from my partner, I've learned that regardless of your challenges, like I said, our situation was pretty much different. And, to a certain extent, if it was someone else, I don't think they would have taken the role that George has actually taken with the kind of team that he actually had, and which he managed to transform. So what I've learned is that, regardless of, the challenge, regardless of the people that you're working with, at the end of the day, if you keep on persevering and you keep on pushing, and you believe in the journey and believe in the course, you'll ultimately get the results. Because, like I said, he managed to move the school from literally a non-performing school to one which produced a 98% pass rate, from a team that didn't want to work or cooperate. So, the ability to actually have that and continue working, even if it means having to take the lead by yourself, until people start walking the journey with you, you just continue going, which is, what I've actually learned from George. One of the greatest sessions which I attended was Time to Think as well. The ability to know how to appreciate before criticizing. So appreciate 5 times before criticizing. So yeah, that has come into place quite a lot when coming to colleagues as well as students. I mean, students can get quite irritating, if I may use the word. So I've learned to practice a bit of patience when coming to that. But generally, the journey itself has been great. And like I said, for us, it's the beginning, and we're still continuing with this. So, yeah, thank you.